And if we look about historical point of view, the first time when Christmas was celebrated, it was celebrated December 25th. It happened in the 2nd century during the Emperor Constantine's, when they replaced old celebration, so Invictus celebration, with the feast of Jesus' birthday. And we know that Constantine, he was the first emperor who recognized Jesus, and that actually happened in the end of his life. But we can say that it's not only the, let's say, theological information background where we can find the references from Jesus and Christ and Christmas. Sorry, I have to. So then we are talking about the Spiritist and Spiritism, and then we can have a look what kind of information is given to us by spiritual side regarding Jesus and Christmas. And if we read about Spirit's book, we can see that there is told that we human beings, we have a soul, we have spirit, and this is originally created by God or created by Creator, independently what name each one of us is calling our let's say common Father. And it's also telling that there is spirits everywhere in the universe. We are not only, the Earth is not only inhabited planet, and we spirits, we have beginning, we have starting point, but we don't have end. And Creator, it has been creating spirits always. So we understand that there is in universe, there is younger spirits which has been created recently, and there is older spirits. And we learn also from Spirit's book that there is happening evolution, constant evolution. So it's understandable that some spirit which has been created maybe 10 billion years ago, it's in further step in development if we think about some soul or some spirit which has been created during the last decades. So if we look about the review Spirit information, and this is from 1868, they have been telling that with God there are many spirits who have reached the top of the ladder of pure spirits, who have deserved to be initiated to his designs in order to direct their execution. So there is some spirits which are in the really top of the level of evolution, and they have different power, they have different capabilities, and of course they are morally, like we can understand that they are pure law. And in this communication they told that you can call them Christs. So they exist really highly evolved spirits. And if we look about review Spirit, another communication, they are telling that these spirits, they are guiding planets, they are guiding different worlds, and this is their task, what they are executing together with God. So if we look at the recent information, we can get the same information also by Chico Xavier in the book Evolution in Two Worlds. There is written that there are spirits who are higher level than the distributors of creative work, and they are being able to work with cosmic fluid, universal fluid, to create Earth and create planets and coordinate that. So in that communication, they tell that such are the spirits like Jesus who built celestial bodies, solar system, galaxies, and everything in universe. We can find the same kind of information in the book On the Way to the Light. And we can understand that if the formation of the Earth was happening over 4.5 million years ago, even at that time, Jesus was capable to guide and direct the formation of the planets. And it means that it gives us some understanding his level of evolution and his capabilities. This is also written in the Gospel of John. There was written that he was in the world and the world was made through him, and the world did not recognize him. So this is not only the, let's say, spiritual messages which are giving this kind of information. You can find that also from Gospel. So what actually was I think that this is the most famous question what Kardec requests from spirits, and he asked that what is the perfect standard that God has offered to humankind as a guide and model. And the spirits respond to him, look at Jesus. And there is written that Jesus is the highest standard of moral perfection to which humankind may aspire on earth. God offers him the most perfect model, and the doctrine he taught is the purest expression of the God's love, because he was animated by the divine spirit, and he was purest being that was ever walked in the earth. So Kardec requested this information in when he is writing his memories and how he proceeded. He made this question over 10 spirits, for over 10 mediums. And these mediums, they didn't recognize, they didn't know each other. And this was the, let's say, the response what he managed to get from this question. So we have to understand that in the earth, there has been visiting somebody who has been in totally another level of the evolution. And it's not in the level of intelligence, it's also in the level of the moral development. It's also the level of the power, what we can't, for sure, we can't imagine. So then we can ask that what actually, what we have learned from Jesus. We know that Jesus is guide and model. And the guide knows the way. They have been going through this same path, same level of, let's say, evolution, what we are. They know the way to the happiness. And he is the, let's say, trying to show us the way that where we can go, how we can get happy. And when we looked at the life of Jesus, he didn't only talk and teach, he also showed the example. And he brought us the gospel, which is the guide to happiness. So he teaches us peace. He showed his own example, put the sword in the sheath. So when he was, the people, they were coming to take him in his end of the life, and he just said that we should not violate another people. We should do other way. If we look about the examples what he gave, blessed are the merciful, love your neighbors as yourself. But if we look about how Jesus lived, he always was with poor people. He was always helping the people who had different kind of health problems. And he never asked money from that. If you think that how much Jesus was owning, how much money he had, and he never had nothing, but still with this condition, he changed the world. If we think about what was his teaching regarding our humility, he teaches that whichever is the greater amongst you, let her be your servant. So he showed own example what is our right attitude with each others. And regarding forgiving, we remember that he asked that, Lord, how many times must I forgive my brothers who offended against me? 7 times. And Jesus responded, I say to you, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. And we remember that when Jesus died, he prayed that God, please forgive them, because they don't know what they are doing. So it was not only teaching by speaking, but he was, let's say, he was doing and let's say living his own teachings, giving the strong example regarding that. So if we look about people who has been, let's say, reading and looking the teachings, we can see, for example, Mahatma Gandhi. And he himself said that if I had to face only the Sermon on the Mount and my own interpretation of it, I should not hesitate to say, oh yes, I'm Christian. And something what is very important for us to remember, that Mahatma Gandhi said that I like your Christ, but I don't like your Christians. Your Christians are so unlike your Christs. So that's the truth. If we look ourselves, we have still much to learn from him. So how Jesus actually influenced people? So we know that some people, they didn't like him. They opposed him. But some of them, some of us, some has been following him, even despite great difficulties. And these difficulties, sometimes in the past, especially, they were really high. But they decided to follow to Jesus because his word, his teachings, they was showing to us something different what we have here in our physical life. And they were managing to make their life different, and it was possible to them to elevate the people who are living with them. They started to serve the humanity. They started to with this transformation, even it was not the easiest one, but they managed to change many people's life much better. So we can think about how it influenced to Maria Magdalena. Francis of Assisi, Paul, Thomas. Some of us, we are having doubts. I feel me quite much like Thomas. I always has been a lot of doubts in my life. We have all different learning process. If we think about Maria, how he was influenced by Jesus. Just say no, we don't know it, but we can think about. But now when the Christmas is coming, I think it's good moment for us to think about that, how Jesus, how it has been influenced you. Is this already happened? If Jesus is, if he has born into your heart, if he is following with me, if I'm trying to find connection with him, I'm sure that he is ready to be connected with me. So these are, let's say, questions that I think about. And if we think about Christmas, and if we think about Jesus was very simple. He was, when they was traveling to Jerusalem, they were very poor conditions. Jesus, the birth, it was among how to say domestic animals and in very, let's say, simple conditions. So maybe we can get something from that example for our Christmas. And in this Christmas, we can think that what would be the most pleasant present to him. And I just hope that we all give this present to him because it's his birthday. So I finalize my word, and I would like to now ask Elsa to continue.
Okay, so let me know if it's okay. My screen is too big or you can see. Now,
we can see.
Wonderful. And how can I hide myself? I want to hide everybody, hide myself, but I cannot do it, I think. Sorry, because if people doesn't, okay, now I could do something here. I think it's okay. I don't know, it's fine. Okay, thank you, Pekka. Thank you all for coming to participate. And my talk is a humble and simple one. And I have my call key. Okay. So when Pekka and I decided to talk about Jesus and Christmas, immediately I was thinking a loads of things in my mind. So I will use people homeless as a Jesus. I will use the people that are in hospital as a Jesus. So, but you know, when you have a lot of formulas in your mind in order to organize, and when you start to organize, else calm down, put yourself on the grounded and started. So I started from the scratch. And I say, what means Christmas? Where this come from, the word, etc. And because here in the UK, we use the symbol of Xmas, means Christmas, as a common abbreviation of the word Christmas. The X comes from the Greek letter Chi, which is the first letter of the Greek word Christos, which is in English is Christ. It's not difficult to go through. So literally means Christian Mass, okay? Christmas means Christian Mass. It's the shortening of the word together, Christ's Mass. As a Catholic, Christmas is a time of spiritual reflection on the important foundations of the Christian faith. Of course, we know that Christ doesn't belong to one church, one religion, one creed, one people. He is the governor of our planet. As Pekka pointed before, there are many Christs of the planets. Each Christ is a medium of God. God is the creator of the universes, etc. And Christ is one of, Jesus is one of these Christs that are creating with God, governing all the planet, etc. So Jesus is our model and guide, our governor, or our planet Earth. He prepared, of course, with his emissaries and other spirits, higher profile, superior spirits that work with Jesus in order to create, organize, architect our planet. Everything in our planet comes from Jesus' mind with God creation. And for us, is the importance of Christmas times is not only in December. Merry Christmas means here, okay, say again, have a fun Christian service. So every Sunday or wherever in church, especially Catholic church, they have a mass, they can say at the end of the mass, have a fun Christian service, because this means Merry Christmas, which many Christians could say every Sunday. So I don't say this because I'm not going to masses, etc. But now we can see. I went to services in Catholic and Methodist Church. They said at the end, Merry Christmas, but means that the service is under Jesus' service. Okay. So Jesus said, Pekka pointed beautifully, my words come from my heart. When we follow Jesus and we study his teachings, and the gospel according to Spiritism bring to us the psychology of life, guidelines for life. It's not something that's only written because you have to follow as a religion, otherwise you go to the hell or heaven accordingly your behavior, according to your creed. No, these teachings, they are in every religion in the world, because it's higher, it's above everything, these teachings. As a model and guide, what he taught us, is teaching us every day, is love one another, be charitable. See what Pekka shows at the end of the Christ is washing the apostles' feet. Be humble, do your best towards others. See your brother and sisters without judgment. This means Christmas in our heart. Our mantra is open every day to Jesus born and born again, but sometimes we forget this. We are far from this, and we do mistakes. And after the mistakes, we have sufferings, problems. So we realize that there are someone guiding us, and we go for it. So Jesus always said and teach us how to be happy in the big and small actions. Yes, in the big and small actions. When you are teaching your child, your children, you are educating your children since the early ages to share his toys with other children, kids in the park or in school or even your home. When you are teaching your child in 7, 8 years old to wash your toys, to share your toys, to give the toys, donate the toys to an orphanage or the children in poor area, in big cities, etc. You go there, you give the toys, you are giving an example for the child, the way that to serve, always in name of Jesus, on behalf of Jesus. So the child is growing up in seeing that what your mother, his father is doing according to Jesus' teachings is goodness, is charity. So the child will be a wonderful adult and share his thoughts, his love, and caring, continuing caring for the humankind. So let me see here if I have some story. Yeah. Pekka brought one part of the story. I brought another part of the story because I think these kind of things can help us to situate why we talk about Jesus and the history and why we have in the calendar December to say there's a Christmas month. Okay. Today, almost the entire world uses the Gregorian calendar that originated in Europe in 1515 by the University of Salamanca and officially approved by Gregory VIII, replacing the Julian calendar. Slowly, the countries were adopting it. And in the year 1752, Great Britain and the colonies belonging to the United Kingdom officially adopted as well. Russia only adopted the Gregorian calendar in 1905 for civic purpose, but the Julian calendar created by Julius Caesar for religious events continues. Today, the Gregorian calendar is official in almost every country in the world. So, 25th of December continued to be celebrated as Jesus' birthday. So his lessons of truth and light was going to spread throughout the world like a rain of magnificent and comforting blessings. As we can say, spiritual psychologist, a great doctor, his lessons, of course, should be followed in our days. We should follow the Jesus lessons in our days. Of course, if you are another, again.
When you start sharing, you can, yes, now we can see.
Yes.
Oh my
Now
God.
you can see. Now you can
I
see.
didn't know really what happened here. I didn't touch it. Okay, never mind. So as I was saying that the lesson of Jesus is a psychology that make our life better when we follow, because you don't need to do much effort really to be a good person, to see that happiness only comes towards us when you make someone happy, or when you respect someone, or when you really give a good education for your child, your family, a good attention and respect to your elderly people in your family, etc. Right? And Jesus was someone that was really smiling. He went to a feast, the Cana marriage, and he helped his friends to have a wine that was at the end of the wine, no wine anymore, so they were worried. And someone called Jesus, can you ask your mother, can you ask Mary, ask Jesus to do something for us? And Mary asked Jesus, my son, please help our friends here. And Jesus organized his first miracle, inverted commas. He transformed the water in wine. So he enjoyed the feast. He was smiling. He was talking with Peter, and Peter was like that. Oh, master, why you make wine so the people can be drunk, etc. And he said, oh, Peter, do you know the great things in our heart when you make a friend, you help a friend, you make your friend smile. So this is a tiny thing that Jesus was doing, but for us it's a good lesson that we have really to do our best to help our friends, not to judge everything in advance, because their culture was 1 week, fasting the wedding party. So he was there and helped his friends, okay? So Christmas, for a great part of our Christianity planet, is a Christian holy day that marks the birth of Jesus, who we worship as our Master of Masters, according, as I said, to question 61 in the Spirit's book and the Gospel according to Spiritism. As we do not celebrate Jesus in the manger of our heart just once a year, his lessons are feeding our souls in the small and the big. Is feeding our souls in the small and the great thing that we can do. And as a Spiritist, that devote our mind to study this wide philosophy that brings all info that we must learn in several incarnations. Our motto, our aim in Jesus, according to question 61 in the Spirit's book, Pekka showed before, governor, tutor, teacher, doctor, psychologist, to all of us, even, of course, non-Christians, as he never divided humanity, only divided the calendar before and after Christ, as he is the most important figure in the world, that the calendar was before and after Christ. Yeah? So our beautiful theme is to reflect Christmas and Jesus. Yeah? And the sublime, I don't know why it's not moving my okay, move with my finger. Okay. The history about Jesus born when the angel appeared to Mary and said, "You are receiving the Jesus in your womb, and he will call Jesus." And Mary was, of course, afraid in the situation that we know in the films. There's several films, several histories about in books, etc., talking about the Jesus birth, how these things happen. For us, is something very natural to understand, you know, that Mary and Joseph was a parent of Jesus, and they have a lot of, I think 6 or 7 children, and Jesus has had brothers and sisters, and sometimes it's different from the Catholicism, the way that they preach when Jesus born. So sometimes, so many times he comes to us in different personalities. That was my first idea to show when Jesus came to us as a homeless, and you are working in the streets as we did last Tuesday, giving to the 100 homeless hot food, meal, hot drink, a beautiful gift, well wrapped with paints, gloves, hats, scarves, something good for them, new things, not only use the ones, of course, during the year we give use the clothes, but each one of them in the streets, the way that they are living without families, without someone to hug them, without someone to talk to them in their languages, because some of them, they are not, they don't speak English, actually. I try to give to them Christian agenda. Most of them received Christian agenda, but some said, no, sorry, lady, I don't speak English. And we know that they are here, perhaps forced, we don't know the situations of them, but each one of them are our brother, our sister. We can think in the Samaritan that gave attention to the one that was felt on the floor without assistance, and only one person stopped and helped, that was Samaritan. And this makes us try to be a good Samaritan every day, not only with material things, but with spiritual things, our good energy. We can do that. We can value our brothers and sisters, whatever the situation they are. They should be respected. Even the one that are in the street, the only belongs, the only property that they have is a rucksack in her bag, back, or sometimes a small bag in their hands. In the entire life is there. So Christmas represented to us this kind of service that we can do every day, helping others in our way. Or a dialogue, if you give attention to someone, as Jesus was talking with Martha, that was really working hard, and Maria was listening to Jesus, and Jesus said that Maria took the best part, the most important part of the day, and Martha was running, rushing, clean the home, everything attached with the material things, and Jesus was giving attention to Maria, that was really taking the best part. We should do this with us as well, especially now in Christmas time, when we are really rushing to go to the shopping centers, to buy things, to give gifts to someone that gave to you last year, and you want to give back, etc. don't do that. In my point of view, of course, children, they expect something. But if you can do the same for other children, as we are doing in Mutirão, in Curitiba, our own in Brazil, they had yesterday their lunchtime, receiving gifts, receiving material for stationery for school, etc. They were happy. We see their faces, the happiness, because the attention for them yesterday and the families receiving the basket with non-perishable food. Of course, it's material, but without food, they can do nothing as well. We should give to them as much as we can to provide that they are not perishing without receiving meal or food or other things. So action of kindness towards our kids, gesture and sentiment of charity, love, and care, sometimes silence. Sometimes we are giving birth in our heart when we are in silence, listen someone shouting, speaking, someone that you are almost crazy. You should wait, calm down, and after that, give our attention to this kind of situation, this person, okay? When we have eyes and ears to see and listen someone who needs, we are receiving the opportunity from Jesus to show for ourselves that we are worship him in the manja of our heart. Again, stop here. Okay, go there. Okay. So Jesus always said, you know, let come to me the children. So we have this lesson really big in our hearts. As a children for Jesus is everyone that are simple, are humble, are poor. So they need our attention as a child. As when we speak with a child, you should speak with kindness. Give to the child the attention that the child needs. Whatever the child, the situation are. We see nowadays how many children, young children, and even teenagers commit suicide. It's our part as a, even if it's not our family that happen this kind of things, we should give attention to the family that are undergoing this kind of things that is really a suffering for their souls. We don't say judging, you did wrong or you did right. No, it's not our turn to judge. Our turn is to give attention, to give love, to teach the best thing to do according to the gospel. The end of the gospel, chapter 28, a lot of kind of prayers for each situation that you see your brother or sister is suffering or asking your help, you can send it to them. A prayer means a lot in our lives and move our mountains of our sufferings from one side to another. We can overcome our sufferings when we follow and put in practice Jesus' teachings. We are disciples of Jesus. All of us, we can really follow his teachings, put in practice in our daily lives. When we are teachers in schools, when we are nurses in hospital, when we are doctors facing problems with patients, whatever we are really putting practice. Oh, I don't want to say that I'm a Christian or I'm this and that. No problem at all. If you are a good person, you don't need to put a label in your face and saying things. This is a human kind, but our turn is to be really a good person and follow the teaching that we need to help, to spread the word of love, not only word, an example, because Jesus is still holding our hands. Wherever we are, wherever we go, we have Jesus' teachings in our hearts. Even when we are doing our Spiritist medical congresses in London or whatever in the world, we are talking about Jesus, although the science is sometimes put aside Jesus, but he is there. He is the doctor. He cured our souls and our incarnations, our tests and attunements, they are our remedy for improving our lives, okay? So humanity then lives the century of the good news when we deeply learn and put in practice. These lessons that Spiritism clarifies wisely. Christmas do not mean waste money, making credit cards full of debts, put our mind only in material things, and forget the minute ahead is already the future. And we will really suffer the consequences of not attending his call. And so I would like to show the gospel here. In a second. I don't know if the gospel is somewhere. It's not there, but never mind. The Gospel According to Spiritism, that is our book, our guideline for life. As I take this book as a psychology book. So after this Feast of Hearts, which is an indelible script for the harmony of humanity, the Gospel became the liveliest and most beautiful book in the world, constituting the permanent message of heaven among the creatures in transit on earth, the map of blessed spiritual altitudes, the guide of the way, the manual of love, courage, and perennial joy. We can leave our mind the word of Jesus, love one another, because Jesus born to make us happy. Doesn't matter how long it takes. God created us to be perfect. Doesn't matter how long, how many existences, how many reincarnations, we have to come and go. Our life is just one, is eternal. Our reincarnations could be thousands, we don't know. But for us, Jesus is our guide, and we are child of God. We are children of God. We have to follow his teachings until the end of the times. I think I finished here, Karen. Thank you very much. And stop it recording as well, but I don't know where can I stop it recording.